Hey, I'm Warren Sprouse here on the Bible Forum. We're here every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We look at life through a biblical lens and we generally solve all the problems in 2 hours or less. I want to point you toward the United Presbyterian Church, USA. Presbyterians as a group were once considered a separatist movement. The idea of separatist is drawn from the 16th century Reformation, which fought to separate itself from the Roman Catholic Church. Think Martin Luther. As a result, Protestantism grew out of these protests by a number of nonconformist reformers, men who stood up against the abuses, theological and otherwise, of the Roman Catholic Church. Martin Luther, as I mentioned, comes to mind, but there were many, many others. One of these protesting groups were eventually labeled Presbyterian. There were also Lutherans and several smaller groups. Methodists came along a little bit later on, basing their worship and practice on methods, hence the name. And the theory here is follow these methods and you will glorify God. The Wesleys and others were rooted in methods, not heart commitment. Now, early Methodists did preach a gospel of grace. That grace was helped along by the attitudes and actions of the sinner. But the word Presbyterian came from the way they governed themselves. They have presbyters, elder leadership, as opposed to a pope or to a congregational form of government. Eventually, Presbyterians evolved into a more structured government. They established regional presbyters. These men became a regional governing body. Today, that governing body includes state, region, and also national. In America, it's called the Presbyterian Church USA. There are other Presbyterian groups, some of them actually concerned that what they are and do be rooted in the Bible. The PCA is not one of them. This group has moved away from the biblically based doctrines and positions upon which they were founded. Last June, for example, the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church USA offered prayers to the Islamic deity Allah. I put a picture of it up on my website in the carousel. As it goes by, you'll see all these people standing in clerical garb. That's what they were doing. The prayer was led by a representative of the Muslim community on behalf of the Presbyterian Assembly. The Presbyterian Church in the U.S. is governed by the Presbyterian Book of Common Worship, a document that was first published in 1906. Roughly once a generation, revisions are made to account for changes in the church and developments in Christian worship. The PCUSA also has a constitutional document called the Directory for Worship, part of their Book of Order. This document governs the theology and practice of worship for the PCUSA. The Book of Common Worship serves as a companion to the Directory for Worship, providing full texts and prayers for services described in more general terms in the Directory for Worship. The book is for voluntary use in congregations, and the two of these work together like a compass and a map. In 2011, the PCUSA denomination ordained its first openly gay minister. In 2015, the majority of the Presbyterian Church USA voted in favor of altering the definition of marriage from a man and a woman to two people, traditionally a man and a woman. According to their documents, a revised marriage service features inclusive language and a flexible format, making the service useful for all sorts of couples and family configurations. End of quote. Also included in the 2018 version is a brief service of prayer for those who seek a way to ritually mark the end of a marriage. All of those facts came from a publication entitled Presbyterians Today. So here we are, from firmly biblical foundations to an anything goes in less than 500 years, closer to 350, 400 years. What changed? Well, the Bible certainly hasn't changed. What changed were the hearts of men. What changed is the way men interpret the Bible. The Bible, a book of words, sentences, paragraphs. Sentences, paragraphs, words that are governed by linguistic rules, laws of grammar. A language that did not change. The words still mean what they've always meant. But it's a language that men did change. The definitions were altered to fit their opinions, values, goals, doctrines, and so forth. And all of this continued until this once strong testimony for Christ melted into the culture, not unlike Catholicism's politically forced theology. This is the way of all classic Protestantism. The goal today is to join with Catholicism in creating a global religion. And the first order of business, clearly, to eliminate the value, the authority of the Word of God. Now keep in mind, there are still Presbyterian churches that largely hold to the cardinal doctrines of Christianity. But they are a dwindling group.